Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I'm joined today by one of my coaching students, Lorien Caldwell. She owns Myofascial Wisdom in Green Valley, Arizona, which is near Tucson. And Lorien has been in the program for 80 days today. So we're going to talk about her experience. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, why don't we start with talking about what was going on for you before coaching and how did you find me?
So what was going on before was I had just started out, kind of had to rewrite the whole thing, my entire professional career. I moved across the country after a divorce and had to start all over. So it was a little overwhelming to say the least. And I had heard about you through friends and, they're also therapists. So yeah.
Okay.
You were on my radar and I'd seen your book at seminars and people wearing your t-shirts. Yeah.
That's good. Those t-shirts really work. They really get the word out.
You're noticed. Yeah.
You know what's funny about those t-shirts is when I was in college, I don't know if I've shared this before, maybe I have, but I ran for executive vice president of the student body at Eastern Washington University. And I was kind of just like a nerd. I was a residence hall advisor, lived in the dorms, and I was running against someone who was like in the fraternities, like super well known, already on student government. And my grandparents had a t-shirt shop at the beach. And they made t-shirts with my face on them and my name. And I won that election. Wow. And so I feel like t-shirt advertising really works. So just a little reason why I send t-shirts. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you moved across the country and you were starting your business from scratch. Had you always been doing therapeutic body work or what were you?
Yeah. So I was a massage therapist for about 20 years and got into the myofascial realm and knew that it was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a full-time MFR therapist, but never could quite I couldn't cut the cord on the massage, and this seemed like a prime time having to start all over to really bite into it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great time to do it. You can do it anytime, but I think when you have a move or you're starting something from scratch, it's a good time to really just to go all the way in on what you really want to be doing. So good for you for doing that.
Thank you. And I did hesitate when I got here and started to offer massage only because that's what other people around me, other professionals around me were asking. Like, well, do you do massage too? And I have clients that you can have. And so it was really tempting and it was hard to go full into the MFR. And at one point I just said, you know what? No, this is what I want. And actually your coaching helped with that because right around the time when my last massage client he left on his own, really. I think he felt the vibe. And then right after that, I started up with coaching with you and it was like, yes, we're doing this.
I love it. I love it. So the other day I asked in the Facebook group what people's objections were to joining coaching, and you had a really good response in there. You said, I come from a long line of do-it-yourselfers. I was not convinced that spending the money was worth it. Life circumstances changed for me greatly, and I had to start all over with my practice. Hearing you talk on the podcast was empowering and validated, which changed everything in my mind and started to change how I showed up in my practice. I felt like there was no other choice but to join so I didn't have to figure it all out by myself and waste precious time. I was also impressed by how well other therapists were doing with your help. That's so nice.
Yeah, it was true. I mean, I just remember listening to the podcast and going, holy shit, like I can actually be the expert in the room. Those words meant so much.
Good.
And it changed the dynamic. The people that I was seeing were struggling with understanding everything about how MFR could help them. And I just needed to step into that role rather than just allowing, because what I had thought before was, well, MFR will sell itself.
Yeah.
People will just feel the benefits and they'll know that this is what they need and this is what they want. And
Yeah.
they can figure out, basically because I do that for myself,
Yeah.
they can figure out how many times to come in and, all that. And yeah, this helped organize my thoughts around it. So
I love that. And I think, while it is true that MFR does kind of like the results speak for themselves, I don't actually believe it sells itself. Like for us to get into this, somebody sold it to us, right? Like John sent brochures for 20 or 30 years to get all these people to be doing MFR. Like he's been selling it this whole time to us. We've bought into it and now we have to sell it to other people. And the other thing is like, massage therapy now it is so widely accepted by everyone. Everyone wants massage, but only because our expectation level is so low, right? Like we're all bought into massage, so we don't even think about what else is possible. And so we have to be the ones that raise the bar and say, like, if you think massage is good, like try something that actually gets you out of pain long term. That's us doing it. But for the majority of people, they're just like massage, check, and they don't think about what else is possible for them unless we're out there serving it up. So we have to be the ones that are like, here you go. Would you like to actually feel better? And I think massage too, it's like you can just get it everywhere. It's just so available. Everybody's doing it. It's not new. It's very vanilla.
yeah. And that's kind of what I came to, was like in my own mind was, you can go get a massage anywhere. The MFR is where it's at. And I know that from my own experience. And yeah, it just was the direction to go.
Yeah. How do you feel now? So you're 80 days in. What was like the first line of direction or line of action that you took when you joined?
So because I was starting all over again, each client, I was really desperately trying to hold on to, like, how can I really help that, I know I can help this person.
Yeah.
How can I keep them so that they'll want to stay? And I think that letting go of that part was really helpful, and working through the belief triad that you have was super helpful, because when I started believing not just in myself, but also in my client, it really transformed, and it transformed how I was speaking to people. I had one in particular who, she had just been in an accident. She had fallen off of a horse and was referred to me. And I remember right after her first session, she hesitated. She said, I feel better. She hesitated about coming back. And I thought, okay, here's my moment. Now I can really try on everything that I've been, practicing. And yeah, even though the conversation was over text, it went super well. I got coached by Meg with that one as well. And I just communicated clearly to her. And I said, look, you can still receive great benefits from this, and we can get you even farther than you are today. And just communicating those benefits. After that coaching call with Meg, I got that text right back from her, and she said, okay, I'll see you on Friday.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was just those little moments, though, are so empowering, where you're like, oh, yes, I can do this.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, and something that I've watched you do, which I've watched a lot of the new people coming in the last couple of months, really show up on the calls and like get a lot of coaching on the live calls. What's that experience been like for you to get coached on the live calls with the big group?
Well, it was a little overwhelming at first, but that in a good way. Like I knew that I was stepping into something that was really, really going to transform how I'm doing business. And so a little overwhelming, but also like, okay, this just feels so right. Like I need this support. I've always, like I said in the Facebook post, been one to do it myself, and I can figure lots of stuff out. I'm multi-talented. Holy moly. Like it's just so much better to have that force behind you and the support. And you guys ask so many good questions. It's like you offer up the ability for us to really answer the questions, because we kind of already know the answers. We just have to get through all the layers of the stuff.
Yeah.
The
All the
drama
drama.
that we put ourselves through. And I didn't even realize how much drama I was in the midst of
Yeah.
because everything was so massively changing. I think in my life, it was like I had too many little compartments and boxes.
Right.
Couldn't
Well, and I think it's so hard when we're in the drama or like when we're the problem. It's like, it's so hard to see it for ourselves. So hard. Like I'm a coach, right? I have all of this experience and I need to have a coach. I actually have multiple coaches, one for my personal life, one for my business, to see the garbage that my brain loves to feed me and where it holds me back. And it's always fascinating to me when you're in it, like you're just too close to it to see it. And to have a coach tell you, like, look, this is what I see, or ask you questions so you can see it for yourself, it just collapses time and you can get through it so much faster. You save so much more time and money.
Yes.
And you're just like, wee, on to the next thing.
Yeah. Once I realized how much time this is going to save me, it's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. I love that. What all have you set up in the last 80 days since you've joined?
So I've done a few things. I've made some changes to my website, still working through the website blitz that you put up, which has been fabulous, and working through the modules and just those core training on the belief triad and also raise your rate. I did that, which was horrifying.
How much did you raise your rate? Like, what was your rate before you started? And
I was at 135, which I thought was high. And actually, all of the other therapists in the area, massage included, would agree that that's really high. And here I was thinking, oh, this is a great rate, like I've priced myself right at the right spot. And then I actually did the boot camp and came out at 185. And it was shocking. Like I even had to go back and do it again to just make sure that I had those numbers really right. But then when I saw it all in black and white, and it was just like, well, this is what it is.
Yeah, you can't unsee it once you know your facts, right?
Yeah, like I really cannot ask if I would expect to make myself, successful in my career, then this is what I have to do in order to keep working.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if you would have set your rate at 130, like you did set your rate at 135 before we worked together, and you worked and got fully booked at that, and you worked for years and years. Like I just imagine like how much you would have under earned and how much you would have overworked to just try to make ends meet because you think you're charging at the top of the mountain.
Yeah. And that was the dangerous thing about comparing my rate with others.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. That's how I was taught to look at how you make your rate, is you compare yourself to all the other therapists in the area. And there's very few MFR therapists right here with me in Green Valley. So yeah, it was a lot. And I knew that people were going to have a reaction to it. It was great to have that support from you guys, because you totally like, okay, you can do this, and just say it like it's the news and it's true. Just do that and stand true. And the numbers, the facts. And when I stated this rate to the fellow MFR therapists in the area, because we're close, she was taking a sip of tea and she almost blew the tea out of her nose. I was like, oh boy.
That makes for an awkward rest of the conversation.
It was. No, it passed. I mean, we're fine. But it just, yeah. And I said, I did the numbers and this is what it is. Like, I'm a single mom and I need to make a certain amount of money.
Yeah. And it's okay to want to make a certain amount of money too. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, even if you don't need all of that, I just think it's so important that we give permission for women, especially, to thrive and not just have just enough.
Yes, exactly. And this has helped me step into my power even further. And it's just it's precious.
I love that. I love that. And then think about your kids, like looking at their mom making it work, and not only just, and you're not hustling.
Yes.
You're working hard, but you're not working yourself to the bone, and that's different.
Right.
Yeah. What is fully booked for you now?
So fully booked is 16 clients.
Okay. And how are you doing? Like, what's your trend?
Well, last week I saw 9 people, and that's actually been the most that I've seen so far.
Great.
And this week I have 7.
Okay.
Which is kind of where I hover. So I'm right in that space where I'm like, okay, I got this much going. How do I hold the space?
How do we double it
for more? Yeah. which is, I really believe now is like a there's a period in there where it needs to be transitioned into. Whereas before I was like, yes, send them to me and I'll work, work, work. And now I'm like, well, maybe I just need to, we're working into this. Like, yes, I want to be at 16, but it's coming and I don't have to like freak out.
Yeah. Do you feel a sense of more calm in your business and your life since you've made these decisions?
So much so when I'm sitting and talking with clients, especially, I've learned how to like, okay, just take a step back, take a breath, relax. You are the expert. You know, they're here because they want to be. And to really wrap my head around that one where it's like, they want what I have. That's why they're here. I'm the right therapist for them.
Yeah. They want you to help them.
Yes. And at this moment, I am the right therapist for this person. And so it's really helped me relax there. It's helped me get organized so I can relax into that. I also teach classes so I can introduce MFR and my practice to the community. And I do a self-care class. So those I've also been able to take more of a deep breath in, even though it's carrying over into all aspects.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay. You were going to tell me before we started recording about January. You said something about January being pretty good.
Yes. So January has been my biggest month so far. And looking back on it, there was the coaching call that you were coaching me on. And it was 1 week in January where I only had 3 clients. And it was right after the holiday and I was kind of freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I think in that moment you said, you know, even though there's 3 clients this week, this isn't necessarily a problem. And this month could be your biggest month. And lo and behold, it was, you know,
Yeah.
I had to take the drama out of that little moment of like, I only have 3 clients.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming. They're coming because of all the good work I've been doing and also taking care of myself in a whole new way.
Yeah. And also taking the right kinds of action, right? When you really believe clients are coming, you do focus your attention on creating clients instead of like hiding in your house or like not talking to people or not telling people you're there, you know, improving your website, making sure your links work, posting on Facebook, whatever it is you do, showing up for coaching. I think even just changing our own like basically our own rainbow BO, like what are we putting out into the world? Like what are we thinking and believing about ourselves and about our clients? Just changing that 1 degree changes the momentum for people looking for you and wanting to work with you and booking online. And it's not all about like rainbows and unicorns and believing that it's going to work out, you know, like fake believing. It's like actually believing that people are going to come, and you show up totally different when you're in that belief versus like rah, rah, shish, boom, bah, like, let's go team. You know the difference?
Yeah. And I love that this coaching is like MFR in the way that there are so many moments when you're uncomfortable. I actually enjoy that.
You're welcome. Question mark.
Yeah. But it works because it's uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah. It really like forces, well, I won't say it forces. It allows you the opportunity or invites you to analyze like all of the things you think about yourself or think about your clients or think that are or are not possible for you. It really invites you to question that and to really raise the bar of possibility. Because you could have decided, like, you know what, 135 is my max. Like, my nervous system cannot tolerate this and been fine, right? But you decided to ask for more to get what you want and what you need. And now imagine, like, when you are fully booked, January was a good month. Like, what's February going to be? What's March going to be? What's 6 months from now?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like, and for me, it wasn't like, boom, it just went away overnight that I was insecure about my rate because it still floats around sometimes. Like I remember waking up, I ended up doing the change online and I had no emotion about it, no thoughts really about it. I just did it.
Yep.
I thought, well, I'm just going to do it because here's the facts and this is how it's going to be. But then it was like a few weeks later where I woke up one morning, like literally right after I woke up, I almost had a panic attack.
Yeah.
So, holy what did I just do?
Yeah.
Did I just totally blow up my business? And I've had, yeah, I mean, people are now, the new ones coming in are paying the 185, and it's worth it to them.
And you're creating new clients. Like, I just like to point this out.
Yeah.
New people are finding you. Did all your old people leave?
No.
Right. You didn't blow your business up.
Yes. Yeah. And there's some people that I keep at a lower rate. I love that there's the freedom in all of this where you get to make the choices.
Yes.
If you have a person that, like, I have one client who's been coming in steady every single week, I'm going to keep her at the rate that she's at. I like her. It's worth it.
Yeah, you get to do it. And the thing is like when you have set yourself up to make the amount of money that you need and you want, you get to make these choices. Like, you get to choose to leave clients on legacy rates. You get to give someone something for free. There's so much freedom and flexibility in it when you are actually making the amount of money that you want to make. It creates time and money freedom. It's awesome.
Yes. Yes. And all of my drama beforehand was not allowing me that freedom, which is a personal growth thing I've had to go through, or I'm going through myself, where it doesn't all need to be just so. It doesn't all need to be just right. Like, I can make decisions and I can change my mind. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and I think because you've been willing to make so many decisions quickly, knowing that you can change your mind, you're not staying stuck in overwhelm. You're not waiting. You're just doing the things. Yeah. It's really been fun to watch you do these things because I've got my eyes on everybody, but it's like, it's real fun to see someone come in and be terrified and then also like do the thing and be like, yeah, I just did it. And then I just had my best month ever. It's fine.
Yeah, it really is. That's what it is. When you realize that it's all just fine, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
And this has helped me get to that point. I really believe I wouldn't be able to without it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So do you care if I share your numbers?
I don't mind at all. Please.
Okay. I'm just going to pull up your reports because they're pretty great. So we do inside the program, we have weekly reports and they're optional, but I think for the people that fill these out weekly, we could probably tie in success levels with people that do these regularly, reporting the wins, reporting the weekly reports. So you've been in the program for 80 days. You joined on the 15th of November, and you have already reported $7,971 in revenue since you joined. Isn't that crazy? That's a lot.
Yeah. Even compared to I considered myself a very successful massage therapist previously.
Yeah.
Where I lived when I was in Rhode Island. And I'm making more than I was then, which is just...
Isn't that great?
Yes.
It's like you're already doing what you were doing before, but I mean, you're doing more than that. It's just such a nice thing to know. And like, this is just, you're only 80 days in.
Yeah. Yes. It's exciting.
So cool. Yeah. You're going to be in the 10K club pretty soon, I'm sure.
Looking forward to it.
What would you say is like the most surprising thing you've learned since you came in?
I think it is just that I have so much. So there's that line between, like John says, letting go of control is the ultimate control. And there were so many little places where I just needed to let go a little bit more. And it, maybe not a big surprise or a big shock, but it's all adding up to just that one thing. Like, oh, I can do all of this and still land on my feet, and be held at the same time. That's another thing. It's the container of the coaching. It holds you in a way that you can't do yourself. So I think that's the most surprising thing for me on a personal level, especially because I'm so used to that do-it-yourselfer attitude and getting it all done and being my own, being an island. So I get just knowing that I can take a deep breath and let go a little bit more is the best. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And I think some of our motto in coaching is everything is figure outable. And no matter what happens, we can figure out a solution, or like chances are nothing's gone wrong and everything's going to be okay in a few days.
Yes, yes. And there was that moment where you said to me, nothing has gone wrong here. There's not a problem. And I just thought, oh, she's right.
Yeah.
You know?
When you have 3 clients in a week, it's not an indicator that you can't be fully booked the next
Mhm.
week or even the next day. Like, it doesn't mean anything. We put so much meaning on everything like, oh, if everybody calls and cancels, that means my rate's too high. Or if everybody's sick, then I'm screwed. It's just like, what if you're not? What,
Yeah. What if
what
you're
if,
not? Exactly. Yep.
what if you're not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. Now, I imagine when you went to enroll in coaching, it's $3,000 to join. It was the holidays. You're a single mom. You're right in the midst of setting up a new business. Like, how hard was that to justify making that payment?
Extremely hard,
Mhm.
to the point where I had the link open on my computer for a few days. Like
Mhm.
I was literally on the verge of the panic attack. I'm like, what am I doing? I know I need to do this.
Yeah.
And looking back on that now, it's a little bit silly, but that's okay.
Well, aren't you like proud of your past you for like setting you up for now? Like the woman
Definitely.
who was like too afraid,
Yes.
like afraid to do it and like thinking about all the ways this could go sideways.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, oh my God, am I just throwing it all away? Is this just
Mhm.
money that I'm just, and of course
Yeah.
it isn't. And you have that part, but there's always that part in your mind that's like, what are you doing?
Or what if you do it and then you don't follow through? Or what if you do it and you get overwhelmed and you don't follow through? You know?
Yeah, yeah, and I had the program recommended to me by the other therapist in the area, and so I knew it was something that I always kind of wanted to check out, but couldn't bite the bullet on the
Mhm.
financial part of it. But then after listening to your podcast and seeing how just those few little tweaks that I made in my viewpoint just from your podcast,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, this is where it's at. Like, I need this. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about the difference, like now being in coaching versus just listening to the podcast? Do you feel like there's a lot missing from the even like the podcast is really valuable.
Yeah.
It's a lot different in coaching. Would you agree with that?
It is a lot different. And what you put in is what you get out of it.
Mhm.
There's so much material there that, like I had said before, like I could figure out how to do a Google listing. I could figure out how to make brochures. I could do all that stuff.
Mhm.
But this is just so much easier and keeps you organized and on
Mhm.
track,
Mhm.
whereas before I could just kind of like float off into the, "Oh, well, I kind of want to do this today," or,
Yeah.
this gives me a little bit more structure, which I really don't have a ton of in my life personally. So,
Yeah.
yeah, having that structure is a big deal. And plus, there's so much in the videos in there and just all of the information and all of the previous coaching that you've given to other people that we can listen to.
Mhm.
It's so much of it has applied in some way to me and what's happening for me at that moment.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, it's a big deal being in the program as opposed to just listening. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, probably because it's my program and I made all of the content, but like it's so much content and
Yes.
we have spent so much time like methodically thinking about how to organize it. And we just went through a major like reorganization of it last summer or last spring, probably, yeah, close to a year ago. And like whittling some things down, like moving videos around so they were made more sense. And then I think having that treasure trove of every coaching call I have done since I started this program, even when it was just a 12-week program in the vault. So there's so much in there. And I think it's good to pace yourself. Some of my favorite things in coaching programs I've been in is binge listening to the replays of the coaching calls while I'm doing the laundry, while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm in the shower, while I'm driving. Like
Mhm.
anytime, like I kind of love to be listening to those and consuming things that way,
Mm.
but really deciding like, what am I going to consume today? And what does my business need? And you can kind of ask yourself what your business needs, go to the portal and figure out like, am I working on my belief? Am I working on getting fully booked? Do I need to raise my rate? Do I need support around something else? Do I need help selling MFR? And you can really ask your business what it needs and go anywhere in the portal and find the answer for it, which is really nice. It's kind of like the Netflix of coaching for an MFR business.
You know what it is? I hadn't thought of it that way, but it really is. Like you can just pick. I mean, I highly recommend just going through the first, especially the first module. That's a really good grounding point.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me tremendously. And then from there, it was just like, yeah, I know I need to work on my website. I know I need to change my rate. And, so then I could just do the pick and choose, and yeah, so much good stuff.
And it's much easier to go through like Raise Your Rate Bootcamp after you've been through the belief triad. Instead of just like going straight for the hardest thing to do with no nervous system work, no ability to know the difference between a thought or circumstance, wild. That's awesome. Okay. Well, what do you see? We're going to do a follow-up interview in about 6 to 9 months and check in with you and see where your business is at. What are your predictions now for what's coming for you in your business? Or like, what are your next goals, I guess?
So my next goals are, even though I'm out in the community doing these classes, is to put myself out there even more. Because I realized that I wasn't necessarily talking to the person in the grocery line. I wasn't interacting with people on that more unofficial level. So that's my next place to really grow into. Because I'm so passionate about MFR, it should be easy to just talk to a regular person about what it is that I do, or find a way to just tie it in here and there, wherever I can, just sprinkling it along like a magical fairy.
Yeah.
MFR fairy, just sprinkling it into my day and whoever I come across. So that challenge, I think, will be the biggest one for me, because I'm so good at sitting down at the computer and just working out all the stuff and doing that. This other part where I actually branch out that way will be the next big thing, I think. And that will put me out there in a way on another level that I haven't been out in the community. So, and I've watched other people in the program doing that and, going after no's and like really digging in that way. And it's so helpful to have your peers in there doing these things alongside you so that you can really bounce your own energy and your own thoughts off of what they're doing. Yeah. So that's kind of my next thing, I think. And I think about it. I mean, I pay attention to the numbers, but I think about it less in numbers right now. And this last month has helped me really take a deep breath with that. Think about it less in numbers now and more in like, okay, how am I showing up everywhere that I go? Because I really do like eat, breathe, and sleep MFR. So yeah.
I love that. Well, I was talking to another therapist this morning, and she was talking about how she was out in the community doing something, and this woman came up to her and was like, "We're connected on social media, and I always see you like in your posts because you are always like, your face is in your posts." And I was like, that is so smart, because, this therapist didn't recognize the woman, and I think she was a yoga instructor or something, because that woman probably doesn't show up so much with her face on social media. So just one tip is like, wherever you show up as you. Make sure people connect you with your business, with MFR and your face. It's really important, not because you need to be like attractive or you need to look a certain way to be an MFR therapist, but people want to see who they're going to work with because it humanizes you and it gives them a connection point and they know what to expect. And it's just so friendly to be like, oh, I saw you on Facebook and now I see you at the grocery store and now you're in my Pilates class and now I'm thinking I want to buy from you. It just makes that trust level amplified so much. So
yes, I love this because it's like you can really see where here's the next big thing. Here's the next step. It's all right there with you guys and in the program and the way that you support us. And yeah, that's just it. Social media will be another big thing for me too.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
And it can be fun, right? Like you can get on there and talk about the things that you want to talk about, which is myofascial release, right? Like I think we get overwhelmed with like, oh, I got to get on social media. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. And it's like, what if you just make 5 posts literally talking about your favorite thing to treat? Like for me, it would be like SI joint, like low back. hip pain, right?
Mm.
How much do you think you could talk about that? Probably for hours.
Hours and hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just decide the thing you're going to talk about, write out a couple of like tips and tricks about it. Take a picture of yourself being cheesy and post it. There really doesn't have to be a lot. It does not have to be polished. And, I always say this to you all on calls and probably on this podcast a lot. Like you could scroll back on my social media from when I first started coaching and it's terrible.
Oh, I'm going to go look at that.
I actually posted a video of me in the Facebook group of me from like 2020. I
Wow.
wasn't even a coach yet. And I'm just talking about MFR. I'm like sitting like this in the chair and I'm like, hello. It's all slouched and funny.
Oh,
But I share those things because it's like, if I wouldn't have allowed myself to do that, I would not be here. I would not be talking into a microphone. I wouldn't even know where to look on the computer screen. I wouldn't know how to do any of this if I didn't allow myself to not know in the beginning and do it anyway. So,
yeah. I think we forget to, well, at least I know I do, that we're also just humans and it's okay.
it's totally okay. And none of us are like camera ready all the time, makeup on, like looking polished all the time.
Right. And no one lives like that. So it's okay.
Nobody lives like that.
Yeah.
I just did my hair for you today.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Thank you. Appreciate it. But normally when I'm recording these without a guest, like I look like a homeless person who hasn't showered in weeks and, my cat's with me. That's just the reality of it. So, well, I'm super thankful that you joined coaching. It's really fun to be your coach. It's really fun to watch people like get a fire lit under their butt and see where they go, and to also see all the hard work that goes into this and not let it doesn't stop you. Like you just keep getting propelled forward. So just know as you go through this, we're here for you. And there will be times where it does not feel like it does right now. And I want those to be the times where you like engage even more and double down and ask for help, and don't feel like because it was going easy before that it's not like something's gone wrong if it feels hard. Because the hard times are when I want you to think, I was so smart to pay for this help. I couldn't foresee this hard time coming up, but here it is, and I'm going to cash in on the help. That's what we're here for. Thick or thin, easy or hard.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Tell everybody where they can find you, because everybody's going to listen to this episode. They're going to look you up. They're going to book appointments with you. So where can they find you?
Well, they can find me at myofascialwisdom.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. It's all on there.
Okay. And then are you on Facebook or Instagram yet?
I am, but I don't really hang out there. I'm really social media phobic.
But maybe you could gain some followers if you tell us your handle.
Lorien Caldwell, LMT.
Okay.
Might be what it is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Look for her. Also, eventually, she's going to have her links on her website. So if you keep checking back, they might be there if you can't find her on Instagram or Facebook. Okay. Just keep at it. And we're going to do a check-in in 6 to 9 months, and we'll see the things you have overcome by then. I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Beautiful. Me too.
All right. For everybody listening, thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with another episode next week. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making 6 figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.